Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Amirah binti Syafi'i. My matric number D2019-1089-503. So I will describe how our group obtained COVID-19 data for the three countries we selected, namely Malaysia, Thailand and Japan. So first of all, I will explain where the Thailand and Japan data are taken on the same website, that is Worldmeter, Corona Tracker and website of Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia. For data from March, April and May in Thailand, through Worldmeter, we can find daily new cases data, daily recovered cases, and daily death cases for the 3 months as in the graph shown. For example, in new cases versus new recovered graph, we can get data for 1st March 2021. For green color is recovered case and orange for new case. For April and May, we get the data in the Corona Tracker because it is easier to refer to a graph that contains all 3 of the daily data we need. As we can see in this graph for 1st May 2021, we know confirmed, recovered and death for that date. Same goes for the case of COVID-19 in Japan. The method of data collection is similar to Thailand. You can just copy the link and then paste in the new tab and delete Thailand, type Japan, and then we can get the website for COVID-19 in Japan. However, for Malaysia, for March, we get data on new cases, recovered and daily death on the website of Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia (KKM) as stated. And as we can see in this website, we can get for the data. And for April and May, we get data on the Corona Tracker website, just like Thailand and Japan. Only the month of March is not in the website because it only displays the latest data over time. Before this, when we collected the data in the Corona Tracker, it started from April, and now as the passage of time, it has shifted to May. May. And that's how we collect the data for COVID-19 in 3 countries. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nur Hazima binti Abdurrahman and my matrix number is D2019-1089-497. I will explain about the function file that we use. For the question 2, we're gonna use function file to calculate the total of active cases, recovered cases, dead cases, and the overall of these cases. We use double as return value type, and for the function name, we name it as total active, total recovered, total dead, and overall cases. For the function file name total active, we name the parameter as double active in bracket and +1. The body function of total active consists of the calculation of total active cases from 1st March of 2021 until 31st May of 2021, that has total 92 days. Then we use for loop to calculate the total of active cases. And since we use double as return value type, so we use a value returning function named as return to return a result, which is sum1. And same goes to the second and third function file named as total recovered with the parameter of double recovered n+1 and function file of total death with the parameter of double death n+1 respectively. This function file gonna calculate the summation of recovered and dead cases in their body function. For the value returning function, we return the value of sum2 and sum3 for total recovered and dead cases respectively. The last function file named as overall cases with the parameter of active n+1, recovered n+1 and dead n+1. And this function file is calculate the overall cases, which is the summation of total active, total recovered and total dead cases. Then we use return of total value. So the use of value returning function is to return value of sum1, sum2, sum3 and total that we're gonna use it for the computation. For the computation of total, average and percentage, we use the previous function file to find the total, average and percentage of each cases for each country. So since we already declared the function file before, hence we use the same function for each country.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Engku Nur Emilia binti Cik Engku Muhammad Hamzah with metric number D201910895002, and I'm going to describe trends for active, recovered and dead cases in 3 different countries, which is Malaysia, Japan and Thailand for 3 months from March to May 2021 by using linear graph. The figures are given as the numbers of cases. The first linear graph represents active cases in each country from March to May 2021. The green line is for Japan, the red line is for Thailand, and the blue line is for Malaysia. If we look at the trends over time, we can see that in March, the trend of active cases per day in Malaysia slowly fall, but in Japan, the trend was slowly increased, while in Thailand, the trend was stable, although there was a little bit fluctuation in the trend. In the next 2 months, the number of active cases per day in Japan rapidly rise until it reached the peak on 9 May 2021 at about 7,766 cases per day. After that, the trend will slowly drop about 4,000 to 5,000 cases per day. In Malaysia, the number of active cases slowly increased day by day until it reached the peak on 29 May 2021 at about 9,020 cases per day. But then, the trend was drastically dropped at about 6,000 cases per day. The trend in Thailand in April to May is quite similar to Malaysia, which is the number of active cases growth until it reached the peak at about 9,635 on 17 May 2021. Then, it is dramatically fall to 2,000 to 3,000 cases per day. But, it is rising again from 27 May until the end of the month. Next, the second graph represents the number of recovered cases in each country from March to May 2021. In early March, Malaysia have the highest number of recovered cases among the other 2 countries, which is around 2,000 to 3,000 cases per day. But it is slowly dropped to 1,000 when it reached the end of the month, while Japan and Thailand have a stable number of recovered cases per day, which is 1,000 and 100 respectively. The number of recovered cases for all countries were maintained until it reached the middle of April. Then, the trend was drastically increased until May. All the countries, which is Japan, Thailand and Malaysia, reached a peak on 29 May 2021 at about 7,210, 4,439 and 5,527 respectively on recovered cases per day. Last but not least, the third graph represents the number of death cases in each country from March to May 2021. In the first 2 months, all 3 countries had a constant number of death cases per day, which is Malaysia and Thailand only below 10 cases per day, whereas Japan between 25 to 125 cases per day. When it reached the 3rd month, the number of death cases for 3 countries slightly increased, although there was some fluctuation in this trend. The peak number for death cases in Japan is 227, 47 in Thailand, and 98 in Malaysia. That's all for the linear graph part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Annie and my fellow friends. My name is Hafizah binti Mumali and my matrix number is D20191089-498. So now I'm going to explain the final part of this video, which is the complete working code. Okay, since the function file part has been explained before, so I'm going to begin from the void main part. Okay, in the first part here, we have declared all the variables that we used in this coding and define the initial values. Okay, there are two data types that we used in this coding, which are integer and double. Okay, we use integer for I and date, and then we use double for active, recovered, depth, average, total, and percentage. Okay, after that, in the second part here, we use dynamic memory allocation since the data that we used in this coding is quite big. Okay, so first we declare a pointer to the array, so we have added the asterisk symbol to date, active, recovered, and dead. Okay, after that we have allocated the memory to m+1 where m is 92. Okay, after the memory allocation, there are three main parts that we are going to see in this coding, which are the display of COVID data cases for three countries, which is Japan, Thailand, and Malaysia. And then the second one is the computation of total, average, and percentage for three of the country. And finally, the display of the computation. Okay, so first we want to see the coding for Malaysia. Okay, so here we are using input file in this code with header file of fstring to both read and write data. Okay, so first we will call the text file that we have already created for Malaysia to display the data. Okay, we use two for loop with different n value. One is to display data of the COVID cases for three of the country, and then the second for loop with a different n value to compute the total, average, and percentage. Okay, so first we have here, we call the text file. We have three for loop with n value of 30 and 31 to display the data for 3 months, which is March, April, and May. Okay, after displaying the data, and then we close the text file, and then we open it again since we use different for loop with different m value, where here to compute the total, average, and percentage we use n value of 92. Okay, so in this for loop we use function file that we have declared to compute the total, average, and percentage. Okay, and then after computing, this part here is to display the data that we have computed, which is the total active cases, total recovered cases, and total dead cases, and then the overall total cases, average, and percentage. Okay, after computing all this, we have to close the text file again. Okay, this is for Malaysia. So next, same things goes to Japan country and Thailand country. So first in Japan, we will display the data for 3 months, which is March, April, and May after displaying. And then the second for loop, we open the text file again to compute the data by using function file. And then finally, we will display the data. We will display the computation and then close the text file. This is for Japan. And then finally for Thailand, the same things goes here. So we will display the data for 3 months for Thailand, March, April, and May. Close the text file, and then here we have for loop to compute the total, average, and percentage by using a function file. And then finally we will display the computation and close the text file. Okay, after closing, here we have delete date, active, recovered, and dead. This is for deallocate the memory that we have allocated before. And then finally we have sin.get to get the data, and we will close with a curly bracket. So that's all for coding. So we will next look at the output of the coding. Okay, so this is the full coding from our group in Microsoft Visual. So when we debug, we will see the output. Okay, so here is the output. So we have COVID data cases for Malaysia for 3 months, March, April and May. And then we have the computation for total, active, recovered and death cases. And then we have overall total cases in Malaysia for 3 months. And then we have average and percentage. Same goes with Japan, the display of data, the computation of total, average and percentage. And finally for Thailand, same goes here, the computation for total, average and percentage. So that's all from us. Thank you.